Okay, hey everybody, happy Saturday to you. Got a Wildcat for you, and it's going to be a fun one. Gonna be cool. Gonna go right down here and share this over on the old page for everybody. And this one's a cool one because I am a longtime fan of this character. Love it, and huge JSA fan. Excuse my cough there. Been out at the farmer's market today, so we're kind of dealing with the allergy issues, as it were. But yep. So bear with me. But yeah, this is absolutely one of my favorite characters. I love this guy. He's an old-fashioned brawler, professional fighter, and brawler turned superhero. And the dude is just crazy. He's fought all of the best of DC so far. I mean, I think he even threw down with Superman at one point. Now, if you recognize this particular pose, this is from one of my favorite covers of his direct series of Wildcat, from the pages of JS, excuse me, the JSA. This was issue 26, and it was the first step of the Fight Game story arc that he was in, where he rebuilt himself as a hero after he was told that he had to retire as a professional fighter, and was set up for a crime spree and connected to a murder and all of this crazy stuff in one story arc. And I mean, it was just nuts. I really dug it and got connected to the character all over again because of that. And it was just like, yeah, man, this is something that DC should be proud of, and build up in their continuity and their canon. But unfortunately, it didn't last very long. They changed Wildcat up and then brought in the female version, and that was the end of that. So yeah, it was pretty bad there for a while. But when they re-announced the the new JSA series, I was all over it, man. And then it didn't work out, and they came back as an annual for the story arc. Then it came back as this society coming back as the Alex Ross stuff, the painted stuff, came out, and they had all those variant covers for a while. And it got really cool there for a little bit. And then they dropped the stories all over again and put them back in the standard comic format, and it was just bad all around. It just wasn't the same, They were trying to revamp the main characters into modern younger variations. They had the Kid Flash involved, and it wasn't a young Wally West. I mean, it was Impulse was in there for a little while. There was a new version of Power Girl. There was a new version of Wildcat as a female. And not that I'm knocking the upgrades and the evolution of the characters. It's just it wasn't formatted properly. It wasn't the same vibe and same feel, So they kicked out Mr. Fantastic, and it was just all kinds of crap going on. And DC's version, by the way. But yeah, it was just nuts because they brought him in as a new character, and let's see, Mr. Miracle was in there. They brought him in for a little bit, and we're going to keep him on as a regular for the team. And then they changed into that Mr. Fantastic character, and it was just jacked up. if you guys never read those things, just go back and check them out. They're the Alex Ross run was great. It's just when they got out of the Kingdom Come stuff and they started moving into the regular series, it got really weird there for a little while. And, nobody ever recognizes those. I'm going to pull out those issues because nobody ever recognizes when I talk about them. They're like, well, what issue is that? And I can't remember because it sucked so bad. But it is what it is. So go fishing through those old JSAs because those older ones are phenomenal, especially the Golden Age and Silver Age stuff. Just completely blows this stuff out of the water. But, it is what it is. So I'm trying to make this look like the panther nose or the cat nose that he has, and prefer not to make him look like a piglet. But from this angle, that's what he's going to look like nonetheless because it's not working for me. So we're not going to mess with it. We'll leave it alone. As far as this character goes, though, like I said, he was a professional brawler. He's fought Batman. He beat the crap out of Green Lantern, which I really enjoyed that storyline. He just totally crushed him. And he's beat down some major characters in the DC universe. It's crazy. This dude is one of those characters that you just love to see get beat down because of the fact that when he comes back, he's 10 times more vicious. He's got a Batman. He's got this love-hate thing with himself, and he's got a Batman, Punisher, Daredevil, urban kind of mix. And he's just not a character you want to mess with at all. I mean, if he sets loose on you, you're in trouble. It's best to run away. But, hey, Rusty, thanks for coming on, man. George, awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Been doing this sucker daily, man. It's crazy. This is number 123, I believe it is. So, yeah, number 123. This is card 123. Been doing this series for 122 days straight. And as long as Facebook holds up with me today, we'll be continuing on as well. So, yay us. But, yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. But, yeah, this character is just way out there as far as an underestimated character goes, and somebody that needs to pop up in DC Comics and really make a leverage point would be a great character to counter, the primary superheroes that we all see, and, the the world's finest trinity of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. The Justice League primary. This guy could hold up with no problem. And people just underestimate him way too much. Especially, nowadays with comics going so shallow on things and so simplistic with their stories, and the continuity just being blown out of the water. It's really hard to deal with that. So that is a problem that we are facing in comics with this evolution. But this guy, I follow anything JSA, and I try to keep up with pretty much all of it. But as long as it's Silver Age or Golden Age or even Modern Age. But this new stuff, man, I don't know. This new 52 and this Rebirth stuff, I'm not sure yet. I do dig this character, though, and I hate to see it going down. There was a press release article that was put out last night or this morning for this weekend, and it's Marvel saying that they're, in default because they basically destroyed themselves and the fan base isn't there anymore and all this mess, and how they've ruined themselves. And DC still has hope because they did the Rebirth reset right before the falling out. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Hopefully we'll get some decent stuff out of it. And if anybody from DC is listening right now, which I know I have friends in that company, if you guys are looking for a series that would be freaking phenomenal. Bring out the JSA. Not necessarily just Wildcat, because he's not strong enough to handle it as a character on his own. But if you brought out the JSA as a team, you could do way better than you're doing with the loss from the Legends of Tomorrow series, which I'm actually a fan of, but hate the Avengers knockoff that it's pushing towards these days. So I know I sound jaded all the time because I'm just tired of the drama, but it's not. I still love comics, and I'm still drawing comics daily. And matter of fact, I'm on the last couple of pages of my own book, Lone Rider, and I am about to finish up the starting point for the final pencils of Catman Evolution for 4, 5, and 6 for a big story arc that I've got coming up, and it going monthly. And my Patreon account is going up this afternoon. I am so excited. And like I said, not after it for the money, after it for the access point, to make sure you guys are really, really serious about joining on and want to see what I'm doing. You know, it's a leverage point for me to say, okay, this is what I'm doing and my fans like it. If not, that's okay too. Whatever works. Like these cards, I'll keep doing them as long as you guys want to see it. But it's fun stuff. It's a blast. And I think this dude is just a total just trailblazer by the way of some of these characters stepping in and coming up the ranks, because DC needs to do something, you know. I would love to see that happen. I don't think it will. I think we're going to get another press release here pretty quick that's going to hype some more stuff of another failure, and then watch the prices of Marvel books in the quarter bins jump up to old market prices for a little bit in scarcity and move on. But I think Wildcat will still be there in the pages of DC, pumping out every other month. So that's what I'm looking forward to, because DC times are a-changing and they're grasping it now. We'll see what happens. But to watch him go toe-to-toe, that fight game, like I said, this homage to that cover for the series was number 26. And it's not an exact replica. It's just influenced and inspired by, okay? So if you look at this and go, that looks familiar, he's still in artwork. No, I'm not. Because that's a totally different pose. It's just a little bit of the same thing. It's just a great expression, and I loved it. So I yanked it and put it on here so that you guys could see. Especially being a weekend session, you know, this is I needed to do something special, because Saturdays are my weakest day, man. Nobody wants to view because they're doing the family thing, which I totally respect. But still, you know, you guys see me all week, man. Hang out with me on the weekend and do the thing, man, and let's talk some comics. But that's okay too. I completely respect that. If you guys have the family thing going on, that's cool, because I spent the morning with mine, and now I'm back here at the table this afternoon and pumping out cards and pumping out pages and pumping out work. And that's after being up till 1:30 this morning, hitting off my 5th page yesterday of inks. I'm getting up there to rank with the legend Jack Kirby. That dude lays out entire books and knocks them out, you know, a couple a week back in the day. And I was just like, man, that's what I want to aspire to, because he was all about, instead of being like most artists and being about perfection, he was all about production. Big difference. Now, this looks a little quick, and I know that some people ask me about this all the time, but just in case you haven't heard it before, what I'm doing is I'm not scribbling back and forth. I'm not circling. What you're seeing is me making hash marks. Okay, because see, that's swirling right there. I don't do that. What I do is this. See, it's individual lines. Boom, 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 boom. Now, you'll see me go back and forth and make a line this way and a line that way. I do that, but I don't swirl it. I hook the end, but I don't swirl, because it makes a different texture to the card, and I don't want to make that that happen. So, because it tends to make a frame marks, and I don't want to do that. It digs into the card a little harsh. And these little cards are, like I said, standard blanks, so they're not real comic cards, as it were. They're standard index blanks, 100 stock, 100 point. So because they're so small and so thin, they get a little hairy or get burrs once in a while. And yeah, gotta be careful. But I love these cards, and the reason I use them is because this is what I started on, and this is what I want to stick with for you guys to have consistency in the card set. I'm about to put up, I don't know, 10 or 20 cards out of the last 30 or so that I really need to get out there. I'm going to peek out those whiskers real quick with white lines so that we have them show up on the shoulder whenever I get in here to do these fine lines and shade this. But anyway, I was going to post those cards this weekend, and got out to the airport to send out a bunch of stuff that I have to go out because of all the flooding. The mail is just running like crap, even up here in the city. And I just wanted to put some stuff out and share some cards with you guys this weekend with my Patreon account, and show what's been going on. And if you do subscribe, you'll get the first-hand look at the finished product that is going into coloring stages right now, the inking finals, and going into coloring stages for the Catman Evolution book and the Lone Rider. So if you guys want to see what's going on, also I have Adventure Inc. and a couple of others that I've talked about before back there, so you guys will be able to get to see the workings and see how the comics are done, and what you're going to get coming up here pretty quick. Also, you'll get an extremely cool discount on the upcoming titles. You'll get sneak peeks at them, and you'll get to see them before everybody else, and you'll get a discount on them to buy the books. So if you dig it, cool. If not, that's okay too. But this guy right here, the reason I chose this particular character is because of the fact that I wanted to do somebody that people just don't draw anymore. And this guy is a total train wreck in the comics right now. They revamped him with the new 52 as a female character, and revamped him specifically as a police officer, a tactical police officer, I believe it was. It's a SWAT member or something like that. And he went full tactical like Daredevil instead of the original Street Brawler, which made him look so weird. And she took on the actual masked vigilante garb that he had. And it's just strange what they did to him. I don't know exactly who did that, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody with ill will or anything. It's just like I said, I had to draw him in this form because this is the Wildcat that I know, and this is the Wildcat that, you know, has been around forever, and it's just not really fair to what they've done to the continuity of these comics. So, and there's nothing we can do about it because they own the properties, and there's just so much stuff going on. We can't make those changes, and it's time for a new breed of hero. I just think that Firestorm is going to bring a bunch of that stuff out, and I know of a lot of other comic individuals that are doing a ton of stuff as well. And my buddy Rusty Gilligan is bringing out his Symbol book, which was a blast, by the way. He had that character big up in the 90s, and just stacked that guy out there. So I'm checking my camera spot and my comments here. Thank you very much, Alfred. I appreciate it, man. You guys are nailing it, man. Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do here. So I'm trying to get it done. However, it's just me, but still. So, and I know a lot of artists will freak out over this one because I'm going a different direction here, but that's okay because I'm penciling this card, and I want to give you guys the whole image before I clean it up and ink it. And yes, I am going back and forth here. Like I said, I know a lot of people will be like, hey man, your lines are crooked. I see you swirling. No, no, no. Very short lines back and forth. Trying not to do the grid work. There we go. Caught the thread of the card. Now we got it going. But yeah, it's hard to believe, man. I've been doing this for 123 days now. This will be 123. Can you believe that? What gets me even more so is you guys are hanging out with me that long. Wow. Crazy stuff. Now next week you're gonna have to get on board and come on for the nice big custom prints, because I'm working on Jason's Electra, and I'm about halfway through that right now around other work, because I've been inking this like I said, this Lone Rider book to get it done. I want to get it finished up, but let's see, I've got Jason's stuff finished up. His Black Panther is finished, and I've got to get Kevin's Electra is sitting on the table right next to me, right underneath these pages right here to my left. And the Lone Rider book is printed out right next to me here for the blue lines that I'm finishing up the last couple pages on. Like I said, I did 5 pages yesterday. Freaking nuts. Okay, this card's catching me here and I don't want to tear it. But, yep, wild stuff. Now, this character's coming along really cool. So I'm going to cut in the eyes here. And he has very human eyes, no problem there. I'm going to give the side eye action. I really dig that. Give that nice little highlight on the side of the nose. Now, I'm going to cut in this lip. And I know this looks a little cartoony because of the mask. And looks kind of like Rusty's Rusty's cat cartoons. He looks like a Mac in Trouble. But yeah, this dude's a superhero in the truest form because he's human and he gets his butt kicked all the time. One of my favorite issues is one of the Silver Age, where you first see him get beat up. He actually loses to a group of mobsters, and they're wearing the 3-piece suits, and I think there's like 10 of them, and they end up beating the crap out of him and leaving him for dead. And a couple of the other, I think it was Alan, the Golden Age Green Lantern, and I believe it was the Golden Age Flash that found him. And they took him, they took him in, fixed him up and all that. And I mean, he was just busted to Hades and back. And they didn't do that kind of thing in those comics. And it was one of the roughest comics that I had ever seen. And, I mean, now, of course, this was just like an old box of comics that I'd gotten, and it was in there. And like I said, I'll have to pull it out and figure out which issue it was and tell you guys about it later. But it was just phenomenal to see that kind of drama in a comic like that. But then on top of that, you have, where the Authority wasn't involved at the time. So that made a big difference. In a lot of those older comics, the Authority wasn't involved and you didn't have to mess with all that. And it was really cool the way they would do the old mobster movie type comics where you just, whatever happened. Whatever couldn't happen on film happened on paper. And it was just great. I forgot to sketch in the bottom of the thumb and the pad for the hand and everything, man. It's like, you're losing it, dude. It's Saturday. So I'm going to put in the crease for this hand here and show where he's got it all wrapped up to his wrist, which is the way he likes to scrap. And we have, oops, I forgot the old Abba-Dabbas. Gotta fix it. So let me type in this area here. Tapping it in. As soon as this is done, we have Wildcat. Hope you guys dig it. That's pretty much it, man. Oh yeah, you bet. I'm putting in the work, Tom. Always, man. Tomorrow I have, who do I have? It's on the tip of my tongue. I know. Oh yeah, tomorrow I am starting a couple of day series. I'm gonna do. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do 5 characters, if I'm gonna do 6 characters, or 9 yet. I just wrote down Silverhawks. That's what I'm doing next from the 1980s cartoons. The Silverhawks going to be the next few cards. I've got Silverhawks. Let's see. I've got Silverhawks. Then after that, I've got a couple of more series that I'm going to take on and start knocking them out that way. We're going to see what's going on that direction. And after I do that set, I have a couple more right after for you, which are going to be, let's see, I've got Silverhawks first. Then I've got, I'm not going to tell you who's next, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more sets that I'm going to do at least a few cards of to get ready for the end of that leg of the series. So you guys hang with me, and I will see you tomorrow with a surprise Silverhawk. I'm not going to disclose who it's going to be. You're going to have to show up for Sunday and see yourself. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Really dig it. Talk to you tomorrow.